Breaking news out of Detroit right now, where a search and rescue is underway for a painter who fell from the Ambassador Bridge. We have been following this story for you all afternoon long, and we have live Team 7 coverage. We begin with 7 Action News reporter Val Clark. Val, what can you tell us?
Well, Joanne, police are not giving us the young painter's name at this time, but they have just told us that he is 27. But it's now been so many hours, and the water is so cold that authorities are calling their massive search effort a recovery. Still, the young man's family is not giving up, and his mother is begging authorities to find her son. That spot under the Ambassador Bridge appears to be where the young painter fell into the frigid water at 1:45 this afternoon. Witnesses call 911. Detroit police, the Coast Guard, and Michigan State Police responded. And 2 hours later, frantic loved ones and co-workers from Seaway Painting nearly ran into our truck. One yelled, "That's my brother," and asked, "Where do we go?" The painter's mother comforted another relative who cried out to God. EMS eventually left the scene, but told us what witnesses said.
They said they heard him scream, and once he went in the water, he was fighting to stay afloat. And they lost sight of him once he hit the old Bobolo dock.
They called 911?
Yes.
Detroit's dive team is standing by, but before going into the 37-degree river, officers were taking an underwater camera to try to locate what they now believe will be the body of the young man.
Right now, it's a recovery at this point, so it's going to be in the hands of Coast Guard and Detroit Police at this time.
That's official now?
Yes.
Detroit police are still deciding exactly where to set up a command post. They're not sure just how long after dark they will be able to continue this search. Reporting live along the Detroit River near the Ambassador Bridge, I'm Val Clark, 7 Action News.
Yeah, Val, such a tough loss for that family, and a lot of people have to be asking the question, why didn't he have on some sort of life preserver while he's out there painting under that bridge right by that water?
Yeah, we haven't gotten anything official from the bridge company that had hired the company, subcontracted out for his company.
All right, Val, we know the investigation will continue. Thank you much. And our team coverage continues now with a comment from the bridge company. Also, some bridge workers are sharing their thoughts on this breaking story. 7 Action News reporter Tom Waite is live now in Southwest Detroit. Tom, what can you tell us?
Well, Carolyn, as Val mentioned, there are members of the Seaway staff that are here on the scene, and they are hoping and praying for good news. And also, as Val mentioned, family members remain here at this moment. Let's go to some video of live chopper video of the search and rescue effort as it goes on right now. Here's what the bridge company is saying. They just released a statement saying, first and foremost, our concerns are for the man who fell this afternoon. We are praying for a positive outcome from this accident. This is an employee of a subcontractor who was contracted by Seaway Painting. Seaway Painting was hired by the bridge company. Goes on to talk about how they know the risks of this kind of work. I asked specifically if there were any safety protocols in place for this kind of work. He said he did not know at this moment. As we mentioned, we have been down to the offices in Livonia of Seaway Painting. We spoke with one of the workers on the phone. They say they are heartbroken, absolutely sideways by this news. They are, of course, hoping for a positive outcome. We also asked them what kind of safety measures are in place in that situation. Is he tethered to the bridge? Is he latched on in some way? What measures are taken? They told me at this point they just aren't prepared to talk about that. They just want a positive outcome. We also spoke with a member of the Coast Guard this afternoon, and he talked about how apparently this 27-year-old man fell down and somebody saw him come back up out of the water.
We're searching in the general area that the individual did go into the water, and currently we're just having that active search aspect conducting at this time. They did say that he did resurface, so what entails to that, we're not really sure, but the fact that we had a rescue boat quickly on scene does help out the situation.
All right, and back out of your live, you're looking at Chopper 7 video of the scene, and it is very, very active right now. There are many crews out here, Coast Guard, Detroit Police Department, Border Patrol. Everyone is searching for this man. We asked the Coast Guard how long this effort would go on for. They said they just weren't certain. Now, you're looking at a piece of the bridge. We think that's where he fell from. The Coast Guard and authorities are not exactly telling us that's the spot, but that piece is hanging there. It's possible that is the area where this young man fell down into the water. The bridge stands about 152 feet above the water at that spot, and as Val mentioned, it's very cold in there. The water temperature 37 degrees, and the temperature outside dropping, of course, has been unseasonably warm, but still very chilly, especially if you're in that river. And of course, there's the current as well. I believe the Coast Guard official we talked to said something around 3 to 6 knots, and there's an undercurrent as well. So a lot of factors here to think about. We're, of course, going to be here on the scene bringing you the very latest. Reporting live here in Southwest Detroit, I'm Tom Waite, 7 Action News. Carolyn and Joanne, back to you.
Yeah, Tom, it's incredible to even think about surviving a fall that far down. But then when you add in the cold temperatures and the frigid water, it just doesn't look good. And as they said, it is now moved to a recovery mission, which we certainly don't want to hear. But
absolutely. They are saying, though, by the way, that they're characterizing this as an accident. That's the information they have at this point.
All right. Tom Waite reporting for us from Detroit. Thank you very much.
All right. It's not the first accident involving workers on the bridge. On November 14th of 2010, workers were painting the bridge when their scaffolding collapsed. 7 were left dangling by their safety harnesses, but 3 fell 150 feet into that icy Detroit River. The Coast Guard rescued 2 of them. The body of the 3rd worker, Jamie Barker, was found 5 months later. He was only 27 years old, and on June 21st of 2001, the scaffolding collapsed on the bridge. A suspension point failed and left a worker dangling for hours. The Canadian government cited a Canadian company for violations relating to the scaffold and its supports.
The Ambassador Bridge is North America's #1 international border crossing. Approval for the bridge was granted by acts of both the U.S. Congress and Canada's Parliament. At the time of its completion in November of 1929, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world, exceeding the Philadelphia-Camden Bridge completed in 1926 by 100 feet. And we are continuing to follow this breaking story. We will bring you any new developments as they happen, and we will have another complete update for you on 7 Action News coming up at 6 o'clock.